Hey guys, welcome to the channel. My name is Craig, and today I'm going to share with you 5 money saving tips that my wife and I use every single day to save more money every month. But hold that thought for a second. That's so much better. So my wife and I live on under $20,000 a year, and this pays for all of our living expenses and all of my tuition as a full-time student, and we use these tips every single day to help save and invest even more money than we could if we didn't.
Alright, so pro tip number 1, move back into your parents. Pro tip number 2, if you can't move in with your parents, live in your car. Who needs a house anyways? And if you live in the parking lot of the library, you can get free Wi-Fi.
Okay, but in all seriousness, don't do any of those things. That's a terrible idea. So in this video, we're mainly going to focus on 3 areas that people tend to spend a lot of money. The first one is food, whether it's food you buy at the grocery store or eating out. The second area we're going to talk about is entertainment. This tends to be a really big area where we spend a lot of money and don't even realize it because it's just a few dollars here, a few dollars there, and it all tends to add up with a Netflix subscription, Disney Plus subscription, plus going to the theater every now and again. And the third area we're going to talk about is housing, which is by far the biggest thing that we spend money on each month. So my first money tip is to make sure and smash the like button because it really helps the channel out, it helps with the YouTube algorithm, and I would just generally really appreciate it. Alright, so my first tip is to buy on sale and buy in bulk. Now obviously you can't always buy things on sale or in bulk, but my wife and I have found that if we kind of pay attention to what prices normally are, we're more aware when a sale goes on, versus when there's a sale but it's only a couple cents cheaper, versus when there's a real sale and it's a couple dollars off the full price. In fact, the other day we were at the grocery store and we noticed that pork was 69 cents a pound, which is super cheap if you figure that pork is normally $2 to $2.50 a pound in our area. So this was a great buy and we stocked up on it, which is the second half of this tip, which is buy in bulk. Now, like I said, obviously you can't always buy everything in bulk, but there's certain things that we always buy in bulk, like sugar, flour, rice, because these things don't go bad. They'll actually keep for months and months and months. And normally, if you buy a 15 or 20 pound bag of, say, flour at the grocery store, you'll pay the same price that you can buy a 50 pound bag of flour with. And this is great for us because we do a lot of baking, so we actually use it pretty quick, but it saves us a ton of money. Now, tip number 2 is buy store brands. Now, a lot of times people think that the debate against name brands and store brands is really a debate of quality, but we found that if you look at the label on most of these products, you'll find that they have the same ingredients, and most of the time the manufacturing process is exactly the same. So all you're really paying for is the label, which in my opinion is not really worth it. Now, we have found that there are some things that the quality is better on name brand things, but that's a sacrifice that I'm willing to make to be able to save and invest more. Alright, so tip number 3 is shop at a store that has a rewards program. So for instance, my wife and I, we shop at Fred Meyer that has a rewards program, which means that we get cheaper prices on sale items when they have them, and we also earn gas rewards, which means that when we buy gas at Fred Meyer, we get 3 cents off a gallon, and sometimes we can build up enough rewards that we can get up to 10 cents off per gallon, which is a really huge savings. On average, a family of 2 spends approximately 12% of their yearly income on food, which on a $50,000 per year salary, that's about $500 per month. And my wife and I, applying all of these tips, spend approximately $150 on food each month. Mocha Pot is the OG espresso, you know what I'm saying? Don't you be calling my pot not real espresso, it is. So that's what happens when I don't realize that my wife is actually recording. Tip number 4 is all about entertainment. So you might be surprised how much money you actually spend on entertainment. It seems like a very small amount when you think, well, it's 10 bucks a month for Netflix and it's 10 bucks a month for this other thing. But over the course of a year, you find that, wow, I've actually spent $200, $300, even $400 on entertainment. The average American household spends approximately $200 on entertainment every single month. Personally, I'm willing to wait till a video comes out on DVD to watch it. And I know for a lot of people, this is something that is just hard for them to do, and that's fine. So tip number 4 is to go get a library card and skip the Netflix subscription. Instead of having Netflix or Amazon or Hulu, my wife and I get all of our videos from the library and watch them after they've come out on DVD, which we find that our library actually has all of the new releases just a little bit later. And then we also watch a lot of YouTube, which, as you've noticed, is pretty great. I mean, you're watching this video, so, you know. Alright, tip number 5 has to do with housing. Now, I have known several people that have gone out and they've bought a house and then they've gotten roommates and split the mortgage amongst the roommates, which means that their rent or their mortgage payment is extremely low, $400 or $500. And this is a great idea because you're putting equity into a house that then you can later sell at a profit, because really, you're not actually putting that much money in it. And the second benefit to this is that this is much, much cheaper than any kind of rent that you can find a lot of times. In my area, rent tends to be really high, so prices comparatively are going to be different in different areas. And the other side of this is if you know someone who wants to buy a house, you can talk to them about being a roommate, splitting the mortgage payment, or even finding another roommate to do this. And this makes renting actually really, really cheap. And the other tip with this is see if you can find a place to rent that's a little bit outside of town, because gas is cheaper than rent. And so it makes sense to live a little bit outside of the city and rent a place for cheaper and pay a little bit more in gas. Because we live outside of our city, we end up paying a lot less in rent. Now, these 5 money tips aren't just for someone who's on a tight budget. We use them just to save and invest more money. And to me, this is great. I'm looking at retiring and being financially independent in just 10 to 15 years. And this is something that a lot of people are really thinking about. And it really doesn't take that much money, but even saving a couple $1,000s a year or a couple $100 more than you would by applying these 5 tips, I think is absolutely worth it and a great idea. Now, I don't want this to be another one of those 5 tips to improve your life kind of videos, but I just wanted to share how my wife and I are able to live very frugally, and in doing so, we're able to save an extra $300 to $400 every single month. Now, these are the 5 tips that I find the most helpful to save the most money. If you have more tips, go ahead and put them in the comments below. I'd love to hear your thoughts, and I'm sure others would too. And as always, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.